Well guys, I'm actually here to update you a little bit on our sales booth for Standard. I know that we did a bit on that yesterday, and like we said then, a lot of the aggressive cards and sideboard cards were selling pretty well. Today, a lot of different cards are actually selling on Sunday morning before the event, kind of indicating maybe some players are interested in changing decks, maybe some players are interested in changing their sideboards. The big cards, we sold all out of Ground Seal, just all of them. I think a lot of Jund players are taking their cues from, I believe, Reed Duke, who has started to main deck Ground Seal, and it obviously paid off for a number of players in the Standard Open yesterday, might be paying off for some of them today. There was a large Reanimator presence as expected, but maybe even larger than was expected. So those hate cards selling out, not really all that surprising, especially because we don't have that many Ground Seals. Beyond that, we had Purify the Grave sell out, Deathrite Shaman, also a big one. Falcon Wrath Aristocrat and Gloom Surgeon. Those cards obviously in a different school of aggressive decks than the Naya Blitz decks, more like Experiment Jund, whereas Gloom Surgeon tends to see play as a sideboard card against aggro decks. I think we can see those as mostly just reactions to the rune that we actually saw yesterday. Gloom Surgeon especially as an answer to Naya Blitz and some particularly strange decks that didn't do very well otherwise yesterday, like Esper and other decks that might just want a black 2-drop that can actually block. Beyond that, a little bit of the expected. Rest in Peace and Rock's Faithmender, two sideboard cards that have been seeing play in Standard for months, not really changing. Today they did especially well. I think we saw Rock's Faithmender do a fair bit of work yesterday. It definitely is a huge shutdown against the Experiment Jund decks, and similar to that, Naya Blitz has a lot of trouble with it once it's in play. If you can untap into a Thragtusk, that's going to be it a lot of the time. So that's the briefest of updates from the floor. We are seeing a lot of the same decks. Some players have Audible, but most are playing something very similar to what they were playing yesterday. You've seen that borne out on the camera with a few people getting their repeat showings, including John Cuvalier, the Jund runner-up from the earlier Standard Open top 8 just this morning. Many players are just out there slugging it out with slightly tweaked versions of what they played before. I'm going to go ahead and throw to a break before we move on to the next round. See you guys then.
SCG Live is brought to you by StarCityGames.com, this month featuring March Madness. Every weekday in